Hey guys, what's up? It's Alec Torelli. Welcome to an episode of Ask Alec. Today's question comes from one of my readers, Bradley. He responded to a welcome email that I sent out to our new subscribers. And he reports to me that he's 24 years old, struggling with certain aspects of poker. He's really good at the math, plays micro stakes online, trying to build his bankroll, and basically says that when it comes down to key decisions in big spots, he loses focus and he has trouble staying in the zone and learning and staying focused during these big spots. So he's good at the technical side, good at the math, but just feels like a deer in headlights when it comes to these big decisions, and was reaching out to hopefully have some advice on how I stayed focused in certain spots. And so in this video, I'd like to share kind of my blueprint for how I think about like decision making in poker and some key strategies that you can apply. So stay right here. All right, guys, if you're new to this channel, the Conscious Poker YouTube is an awesome place to take your poker game to the next level, whether you're looking for premier mindset content or hand of the days where I review key hands and help you with your strategy. We put it all out here. So be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button as well. It really means a lot, helps us show more videos to more people and produce more of this similar style of content. So when you start to classify yourself as a mental performance athlete, and I know that sounds kind of arrogant, sounds stupid, it sounds silly to say, but it really is true. Like you're playing a game at a very high level, and it is a mental game. I mean, there's a physical component because you have to be in good shape to have stamina, and you know, you have to be in good shape to think clearly, but it's mainly a mental game. It's kind of like chess, right? It's a mental performance game. I think it's important to kind of like acknowledge that and to have that be the macro focus, because then it's something that you could work on. It's something you can try and improve and optimize, but without that key understanding of what poker really is at its essence, that's hard to do. So with that out of the way, when I realized that and I started working with a mental coach and really try to improve my mental game, I remember he said to me, he used to coach golfers. And I said, well, that's interesting. You don't golf. How did you coach golfers? And he said, how long does a round of golf last? I said, I don't know, 5 hours. And he said, okay, how many minutes do you actually spend hitting the golf club? I was like, oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it before, but maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes out of the 5 hours? Like how much time is actually spent swinging the club? It's very little. So and he's like, well, I work with people on what they do in the other 4 hours and 50 minutes. Because golf is a mental game. It's what's going on up here when you're walking from the tee to the green. What are you thinking about? How are you preparing yourself to take the next shot? What is your confidence like? What is your self-talk like? What is the story that you're telling yourself in your head? And if you miss a shot, it's even more important to have that narrative be on point, to have your mental game be sharper, because that's when it's easy to get pulled down. We all know the virtuous cycle in poker. You play well, you run well, you make good decisions. It's easy to have that positive feedback loop. But the challenge of any good player, and you've heard this, is what happens when you're losing. And so I really made it a point to work on this and to think about how I'm going to improve mentally in the game. And so I mimicked other athletes, and I really looked at other athletes at a high level that were playing a mental game as well as the physical game. So I watched golfers and I watched tennis players, because tennis is a lot mental. I mean, yes, it's physical. These guys are in some of the best shape in the world, but tennis is a lot of a mental game. If you ever watched a tennis match, sometimes people miss a point or two. They hit a ball in the net, they break their racket, and then there's a turning point in the match where a player that's capable of playing at a certain level, he's capable of being here, starts playing here and just gets demolished. And you've seen it turn in an instant in tennis, and it's amazing when it does, because you can feel the shift in energy in the crowd, and you could feel the shift in the player's psychology, and you just know that they're doomed. You've seen this happen in basketball. When you watch basketball games and a team has momentum, they're at home. Why is there such a thing as home court advantage? How come people win more often when they're playing at home? It's because there's that psychology. They're in a better state of mind. It's easier to perform at their best. It doesn't change the caliber of the player when they're playing at home versus playing away, but why do they play better? Because they have that psychology going behind them. So much of sports is mental, and poker is even more mental, because you're ultimately making, decisions at a high level mentally. So it's really important to work on this, and I hope that provides kind of like a framework for how I like to think about this. And what I always do with clients is really help provide them with this mental framework. And I think the strategy that works really well is to understand that what you're trying to do is you're trying to mimic like a tennis player or a golfer. And you're trying to create a routine, a mental game routine that allows you to be in a psychological state of mind that is optimal for making the decision. So just like the golfer doesn't walk up to the point, it's not like Happy Gilmore, right? It's a great movie, but that's not what happens in golf. You don't just walk up to the green, start sprinting, and just smash the ball. Or a tennis player, they don't take the ball from the ball boy, walk up to the line, and serve. No, they stand there. The golfer stands there like this. They shake out their shoulders. They look at the distance. They look down. They look at the distance. They exhale. And then they swing. So they get in this flow. Tennis players do the same thing. They dribble the ball 6 times. Rafael Nadal does the thing with his hair, scratches his butt, dribbles the ball, looks at the guy, and release and serve. It's this flow. So they do all of this as like a show to get into the flow so that they could play the point without any mental chatter. It's silencing the mind so that they could play the point the best way possible. Well, what if you could do that in poker? Right? What if you can get to the point in poker where you're silencing the mind so that the only thing that was happening in the middle of the hand was just inputs of what was going on. So you're just only focused on, did he raise? How did he move? What does this person do? What am I going to do if this guy does this? And you're just completely in the zone in every hand you play. And that's the mental state that I really worked hard to get to in my poker game, where I could stay in that flow for, the duration of my session. And that's helped me win. That's been so important for my game, because it's not about improving your A game. I mean, it is about improving your A game, but it's also about playing your A game more often. So what if you can, instead of having your C game, instead of playing your oscillating between your A game and your C game, you could just play your A game. What would that do? That would be the equivalent of improving your A game, because you would never have a C game. I mean, that would be amazing. So it's about staying in that flow. And what I challenge people to do is to develop what I call a power routine. It's a process you go through, a conscious process you go through mentally in every hand you play, before every hand you play, to recenter yourself to be at your best. Watch tennis players, watch golfers, and see what they do. They don't just walk up to the point and serve. They have a process they go through. So the point of tennis starts on their terms. It starts when they are performing at their all-time best. And if you want to have that next level focus in poker, you need to take shit into your own hands and really develop this routine, this power routine that I call it, for yourself. And you need to figure out what works for you. So you need to try different things. Maybe it's an affirmation that you repeat. Maybe it's some physical body movement where you shake out tension in your shoulders, you sit up, and you exhale and you just breathe really quick and you get in the zone. Maybe it's something where you're repeating something consciously to your mind, which is what I like to do. I use an affirmation of sorts to get into the zone where I have my focus where I want it to be, because I bring myself back to center. So I'm releasing the tension and the noise and the BS and the ego or the distraction of the past or whatever happened in the previous hand, especially if I lost a big pot or I made a mistake or I took a bad beat. I need to release all that shit and get back to this current decision, and I have to recenter myself to get myself back to playing the next hand the best way possible. So how do I do that? I have my power routine that I go through. So I challenge you to experiment what works for you, to develop your own power routine to get yourself centered and focused. I hope this helps. If you want more from this, and I explained the what in this video. If you want the how and to know how to implement this, exactly what I use, my self-talk, exactly what my triggers are to get myself primed to play in this state of mind, and what I share with clients and students, check out Alec's Academy. We have an entire program where I walk you through the business plan of poker as well as the mental game, and help you master the psychology and the mental game of poker so you can play at your best. You can apply to join our next cohort at alecs.academy, or check the link in the description below. You could apply, and if we are a good fit, we'll be in touch with some next steps. I hope this helped. Thanks for your attention. Share your thoughts and tips below with your mental game and what works for you. Bradley, I just acted. It's on you. See you guys. Peace.